I will once more return to the hollow ground of Yad Vashem to honor 6 million Jewish lives that were stolen in the genocide and continue, which we must do every day, continue to bear witness. To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust, horror of the Holocaust.
Yes, keep alive the honor of the Holocaust.
Oh my God, calm down, Dave.
Sean did not appreciate that right off the top. Just giving the old Sig Heil. That's how you know it's gonna be a good Friday show.
Look, all you gotta do is nowadays is hold your arm up, and all the leftists will say that you are the Nazi. So,
Right?
What up, dude?
What's up?
so
Not much. Go with hit a car.
Well, at least you didn't almost hit a semi. Hey, Dag just said he almost hit a car. I didn't even bring it up. He brought it up. I'm just saying,
I said car. I'm sorry.
I know.
did you almost hit a semi?
Hit a car. But the day is still young.
No, I didn't almost hit a semi.
Where have you been, Trey?
Yeah, go check the signal messages.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I sent pictures and everything.
Dude, dang.
You suck. Can you hear him?
Yeah.
No, I didn't almost hit a semi. He actually did hit one. Not just a little bit though. Not like
It's straight to the side.
Not-
It's like power wash. Like I'm gonna power wash it off.
To be fair,
Not that
whenever I first started driving, I got a little close to one too. So
Trey
didn't
said when
hit
he
it, though.
first started driving, he got a little close to one, but he didn't actually hit it.
Dad goes, get over, and I'm like, okay.
I did not. Okay, so we're in the middle lane, and he goes, "Do I need to get over in the right lane?" I was like, "No." I said, "But you can get in the left lane." And so he just like takes off into the left lane with a semi literally right there. And then he goes, "Well, I didn't see it." He was like, I couldn't see it out of the mirror. I was like, "Well, because it wasn't in the mirror, it was right there out the window." I was like, "All you had to do was look out the window." Like semis kind of like, bridge the, as I think either Dag or Class said in the group chat, like semis bridge the blind spot. Like you can see it. That's
yeah. Even if you don't see the actual semi, you're gonna see the shadow, right? Like so, like you're gonna see the shadow.
right,
Of the
you're gonna
semi
see
coming up.
something.
Hear its overbearing presence as it
Yeah, like,
roars down the freeway next to you.
Right, those things don't have
Usually
stealth
some
mode
sort
or
of
anything. It's like,
When they started doing like blind spot detection sensors and this and that, and I've installed a lot of them, mostly in semi trucks because of their giant blind spot that they actually have an excuse for.
Yeah.
But in regular cars, part of me at first like, oh, this sucks. This is going to make people worse drivers. But now, these days, I'm all for it. I'm all for that shit. And I mean,
Yeah.
case in point right here,
Although they are hella annoying, like whenever because my wife's SUV has them on it, and it's super annoying whenever it just detects something. It's not the actual car, or like they've already passed me, and it's still like sensing them from like a half second ago, and I'm like, yeah, I know they were there. I'm sticking it in right behind them, whatever. It's like,
hey, I'm driving here.
yeah. I was setting you up for it.
so his truck is a 07 Toyota, so it doesn't have any of the bells and whistles or anything
not
like
by
that.
a long.
I mean,
Not by a long
mine's a
shot.
13 and it doesn't have any of that stuff either. I'm not a big fan of all that shit. My
Yeah,
wife's
no, it started
truck-
coming more standard recently. Like if you rent or buy like a newer Nissan Rogue or some shit, like it's got all that. Dude, it fucking half drives itself. That's
That's literally what
crazy.
my wife's is.
Yeah.
It has a lane cruise control kind of thing, like where you can keep it in the lane too or whatever. Like if you put it
my
in
wife's-
cruise, it'll tell you like, hey, you're getting out of lane. So
My wife's new truck
Most of us who
has
know how to
that,
drive don't care for that shit.
yeah,
it has that like that lane check stuff. So like if you start to go a little over the
That's
one
what
of
I
the
was talking
lines,
about.
either in the middle or on the shoulder, it like vibrates the steering wheel and it'll ding at you. And I turned the dinger off. I was like, shut the fuck up. Like I'm going to my taxes paid for all of this road. I'm going to use all of the fucking thing. Don't tell me I can't drive on the shoulder. Like I don't need you to judge my driving. Just like get me from point A to point B. So I turned the dinger off on it, but the like steering wheel still vibrates whenever you do it. So now I just get like hand massages all the time.
Yeah, that's one of my things. Like I wanna trade in little Boxy Brown here at some point. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just I've got almost 200,000 miles on it. I drive a lot for my job, and I mean I guess I'm kind of ready for something a little bit bigger, But it's like it's one of the reasons I'm even considering sticking with like Kia or like Hyundai is because like they have a lot less of that shit in the more base model vehicles than like Toyota or Nissan does. I still want something pretty basic.
Well, it's like we've talked about before with like appliances and stuff. Like we've got our washing machine that thinks that the load is off balance or that the load is too heavy or there's too much, and then it won't spin the load. And I'm like, I just need you to spin and get the water out of this thing. I don't care if the house or anything else, like if it burns the belts off, what the fuck ever. I just need you to do the job that I bought you to fucking do. And that's like these cars have gotten so advanced and so complicated. Like,
well, they're trying to like keep themselves from breaking. Like they're trying to keep like especially like the appliances. Like they're trying to prevent themselves, like they're trying to be like self-maintaining or whatever, like in some ways, like because it's like, hey, I don't want to have too much of a load because then that can cause like problems with my giving me mechanical issues. So it'll tell you like, hey, load is off balance or whatever nonsense. It's like, no, I want to be able to throw stuff in there and freaking yeah, I'm with you.
Right, I don't need you to think. I just need you to do the job I told you to fucking do.
Yeah.
I want all the marketing department heads who listen to this show regularly to listen to what I'm telling you now. I get it that when you have like a product that kind of, you just have to add features to add sales, right? Like, oh, it's got this or that. A feature that men fucking want is it's simple and it works and it doesn't break much. We don't need this or that sensor or this or it tells you this, or you can get on your smartphone and watch your laundry in machine as it goes. We don't want that shit. We want simple, effective, repairable. You know what I mean? Like, and that could be a feature in itself. Just figure out a way to package that to women, and then we're
right. I would be more than happy to pay more for something that's just a basic, heavy duty, will not break, will do whatever I tell it to do without asking questions and making and dinging and beeping and telling me that I'm doing something wrong. Like, just let me load as much. Let me throw seven comforters in this thing and then run a spin cycle on it. I don't need you to tell me that that's too much. I just want you to do it.
And if it does
I'll
break,
pay more for that.
Just make sure it's repairable. Just let me buy parts.
Right.
Then if I do shove 8 in and that's too much, hey, I can handle it.
Exactly.
There's got to be fixable.
That's why I like his truck. I like his truck because it's easy to work with. Like I changed the oil on it the other day, and like you open the hood and the oil filter is literally like just right there sticking up. It's like you don't even have to look for it or think about it. Like there it is. It's like twist to a twist, put the new one on. Like super
I remember those.
Yeah, right. Like we all remember those. Even my truck it's a 13. The oil filter isn't in a really bad spot, but it's not terrible. Like I can get to it.
Yeah, mine's kind of tucked under like the like or my wife's is tucked under the kind of wheel cap. Mine's kind of like under like right by the housing of it's actually not in a bad spot. It's right there near where the old reserve like tank is.
Stephanie has had 2 different vehicles where one of them you had to actually take shit off and remove stuff to get to the oil filter, and then the other one, her last one that she had, uh, it was just the like paper filter type. It wasn't the canister style filter, but the housing for it where you had this like you had to get a tool down in there to open it up to take the old one out, and then you had to screw this thing back in to hold it. It's
No.
fucking nightmare. You can't like there's no way to actually like take it off by hand. You have to have a tool down in there to get to it. It is just fucking stupid. I hated that car so much.
Yeah, Dag though is like hitting on a good point. Like, I don't know how you would package that to women, because like women are all about the whole like, oh, it got a new feature. Oh, I can look at it on my phone or something like that. But I'm actually glad though. I was really surprised whenever because ours was kind of like it wasn't done, but like they were giving out on us our washer and dryer. So we actually did get a new one a few months ago, and it was like they actually did have kind of base model where it was the same thing, literally the same washer and dryer set as we had basically, but it was just they had one new feature on the washer, and it was a thing to put the like softener in there, and that I was like, that's not a bad addition, and it seems like it's working fine. So I mean, I don't know.
My mom had some of the like top of the line, state of the art washer and dryers, had all the bells and whistles and all the like touch screen bullshit and everything. And she had so much problems out of those things. And finally the touch screen on the washer just straight up stopped working. She hadn't had it for I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years. And she traded those fucking things in, sold them, got rid of them, and got like Maytag makes like an industrial washer and dryer that I mean it's just like straight up you turn the knob and hit start. There's no options, there's no functions. You turn the knob and hit start, and it just fucking runs. And it's mom traded her fancy shit in for just the like turn the knob and hit the button style. And she's like, I love it. I don't want anything else. Like all the other stuff is stupid. I just want it to do what it's supposed to do. Like, yes. Yes. More of that.
It's too bad big marketing executives don't watch this show, probably.
Yes. We are the everyman.
But you
learn a lot about the everyman from just listening to us and the things we care about.
But you know who does probably watch this show? Donald Trump, because he's out here calling.
Oh, Donnie T? Yeah, man, he's our big viewer.
Train wreck. And by the way, I looked into this long conference, lasted for like 2 minutes. She's exhausted. You know? She's exhausted. She's a train wreck who is totally unqualified to be the president of the United States of America. There are some people who thrive under pressure, and there are some people who crack under pressure. She's a cracker. And the more
see the cracker. I love how he delivers it too, because it's like she's a cracker. It's like deadpan almost.
What y'all think of? Have y'all had a chance to watch the Vance Rogan interview episode?
I'm like halfway through. I've got halfway through so far. But the first half has been good. Like other than Joe Rogan's like technical issues, so yeah. Like,
yeah.
Oh, my mic is
so Rogan in the second half, Rogan asked some. In the second half, Rogan asked some of the harder questions, like they talk about some of the harder topics, and Vance does fine. He answers them. He answers them in a way that you would expect a politician to answer. He's very direct. He gives good answers, but he doesn't like throw fireballs, or he doesn't he doesn't do like one-liners or potentially viral clips. He he answers in a very middle of the road, very straightforward manner. That he's doing the like appealing to the normal voter that's like listening and just wondering like what do they actually think about this? Because you didn't really get answers from Donald Trump. You got a lot of Trump moments from the Trump interview, but you didn't get a whole lot of answers. With Vance, you get more answers, and yeah, I mean he does a very good job.
Well?
Like I said, the first half is really good. The second half they get into more depth stuff, but he's still really good.
Yeah, I like the first part pretty, like the first half so far pretty well, because they're just sitting there kind of talking about like, he's like, oh yeah, my kid. He kind of retold the same Pokemon, whatever like his kid talking to him about Pokemon while he's trying to like, and I could definitely relate to that because my son's like huge into Pokemon right now. So he's like, Dad, have you seen this new Pokemon? And I'm like, I don't, I only know the like, you know, the old ones, mainly, like Pikachu, Charizard, Charmander, whatever, everything. And he's just like telling me like, hey, here's this one, and I'm like, he's like, how do you pronounce this? And he's like trying to read it and stuff like that. So it's always like, man, I just can we do something else for a minute?
Yeah, it's easy for kids to, not realize that everybody else isn't into whatever they're into. You know what I mean? Has no idea what you're talking about. Wayne's son. So, they're real into wrestling. They go see wrestling and stuff. And he'll be like, hey, did you see John Cena? Wayne's got to be like, dude, he has no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean? We're going to WrestleMania, bitch. And I'm like, I don't know, naming people and events and whatever. And I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about, boy. But I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. That's
Stephanie wants me to take her to Stephanie wants me to take her to a WrestleMania or a Royal Rumble or something. There's one in Indy and one in Nashville in February, and she wants me to take her to one of those. I'm afraid they're going to be like break the bank expensive. Like I was seeing some of those like $600 for a single ticket. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, they ain't cheap, especially depending on where you sit. Yeah, they definitely ain't cheap.
Yeah, I didn't know they were like $600 now though. I think the last time that I even looked at anything like that, it's like $400.
Yeah, I mean it can be. Again, depends on where you sit, but
Well, that's what I told Stephanie. I was like, one ticket for this is going to be as much as what I paid for 2 season tickets for the IU football game. I was like, if we do this is going to be like your birthday, Christmas, and anniversary presents all rolled into one.
Yep.
that could be worse.
Birthday, Christmas, anniversary. Yep.
She could be trying to drag you to musicals and shit.
yeah. That could be bad. Like, hey. Technically, my wife did drag me to a musical not too long ago, but it was because it was for the kids kind of thing. It was like a Paw Patrol thing or whatever.
Paw Patrol on ice.
Another thing is like they were like Save the City, some kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It was basically a play where they kind of had the Paw Patrol kind of characters out there and stuff like that. They really liked it.
Yeah, there's something about like, I don't know, like theater. There's got to be like a play out there that like I'd go to and enjoy, right, and have fun. It's just so hard to imagine it existing. It's just such an odd medium. Like, because you guys know me, I'm bad at the suspension of disbelief. And you really got to give a lot of that with a play because it's like, it's hardly props.
It's like I saw well, like you get it's like watching a magician that gives away his tricks. That's what I would say a play is like, because you're gonna see them hand or you're gonna, for the most part. I mean, maybe they're really good at hiding it, but you're probably gonna see them like handing, like, putting a clipping something on them so they can pretend that they're flying or whatever nonsense.
Right, and then it's like, all right, you don't even have to do the whole. You don't even have to go that far to pretend you're flying, like swooshing. Like we get it, like we know you're not, and obviously the movies are not either. I actually use that thought line when I'm watching TV and movies to sort of get myself back in, like okay, like so and so is tailing somebody else to follow him to see where he's going, and it's like they're in the middle of the desert. Of course, he sees the car behind him. You know what I mean? Like, in Breaking Bad or something. But I tell myself, if this were a play, they'd be hiding behind a cardboard shrub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd be even worse if it was a play. I just have to assume that he's tailing him in a way where the other guy can't see him. And let's just go with that. Put that in my head and stop being such a persnickety little autist about it.
If we're in the middle of nowhere, like that's kind of like what the there's this show, like I've only watched a couple episodes of it where they do it, but it's called Every Frame of Pause. They call it EFAP, which I find funny. But they're basically they're going through everything and like autistically, like what you're saying, like, hey, why didn't they turn here? Why didn't they do this? Because if they did this, like it's way more logical that they should have done this, because they should have known that the person was hiding around the corner or something like this and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, that they go through it that way, and it's like, yeah, it just ruins everything though if you do it that way. You have to have some kind of level of just being able to, like, okay, if this was a play, this would be way worse. So
yeah, and the one caveat to that, if it is like a bad movie and you're going it, like I enjoy bad movies a lot of times, so then half the fun is pointing out the stupid bullshit. You know what I mean? Even though, if it were a movie I liked, I'd be like, I'd forgive it. Who cares? It's just a movie. But when it's a bad movie, they get all the fucking, they get every little nitpicky thing I can throw at them. But, that's half the fun. Like on Seinfeld, Jerry's hallway couldn't exist. That one's been floating around a lot. His kitchen actually blocks the hallway if you draw it out, like so his hallway can't actually exist.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because like how is he going this, or like the direction? Like I don't know. I think I've seen the same thing you're talking about on it. Like how is he, like he goes down the hallway and it would be like the wrong way, or
if he were to make a right out of his door, he'd hit the back of his fridge.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Which I never really would have noticed if the internet hadn't pointed it out to me. But it's a sound stage, so we know it's basically a play. It's basically a play, but because the camera cuts out all the behind the scenes shit, it makes it more believable. And that's what you got to do. If you go to see a play, you got to wear like a cardboard like pair of blinders, so you just focus on the stage, just the center of the stage. Pretend
so you
TV.
can't see the that's actually, they should actually sell those, like sell especially see here I'm coming up with ideas for you, people who run these things. Like you can sell specialized blinders, so that way people can't see the outside nonsense, and then you can have whatever cool fancy design on them, and then sell them and have people where they can actually just watch the play.
Then there's some movies, which I haven't seen The Whale yet, but like that's based on a play. And one of the easy ways you could tell a movie's based on a play is it's only ever in one room. You know what I mean? And everybody comes to that room, because that's the way it would be in a play typically. But I guess that one's based on a play, and it's pretty easy to tell. But I have not. Part of it is just because I've gotten, like, Brendan Fraser was obviously never like a tough guy, but since he got so mad about some dude grabbing his ass, he's like, I was sexually assaulted. Shut the fuck up, dude. His finger slipped into my butt crack. Whatever. Dude, you're in Hollywood. You suck it up. You take the ass grabbing. Do you know how many times I've had my ass grabbed in a totally straight situation by a boss, and I didn't cry about it? Not in front of people, anyway. Ran to the bathroom going, I'm fine. I was I don't know if I've told this story out here before. I'm sorry. I went to Maryland to help out at a shop for a week to train them how to pin. And I'm sitting there working, and the boss at that shop was friends with my boss at the shop I worked at. That's how the whole thing got like arranged. How I got passed around. But I'm sitting there and I'm teaching one of the guys to pin, and the boss, the boss at that shop walked up by me and goes, oh God, I hope I'm doing this right. He goes, this is from Joe, and he two hands, one hand on each cheek, bam. You know, I was like, oh shit, you know, what the fuck? And then I talked to Joe, my boss, later. He goes, now you see, no matter where you are, you're not out of my reach. I was like, Jesus.
Oh my God.
But it was hilarious. I laughed about it and didn't get upset or feel violated at all because we're straight men and we can do things like that.
Yeah,
Or we
it's
can't.
only
Or
gay.
you guys are like, no, D, you can't. You're very
It's only
gay
gay
now
if
to
you
us,
like
you
it.
know? Well, it's not like I'm sticking my ass out inviting it or anything, but you know when it happens, well, no one gets sore about it. I just come up with some way to prank him back. I'll show you. I'll grab you by the nuts. That'll teach you.
When I went
reminds
out
me
to
of the chicken kind of game that the guys used to play.
Gay chicken, yeah.
Yeah, gay chicken. Yeah.
when I went out to Texas to Buck's place a couple years ago for a thing that they were having out there, a mutual friend of ours who lives here in Indiana, Joni, she used to have a bakery and sponsored a bunch of different podcasts and stuff. And she did a lot of stuff with the college campus vaccine mandate stuff, and was like really active in getting that stuff overturned or getting it where the colleges couldn't mandate do the vaccine mandate stuff. But anyway, we were supposed to go out there to Buck's place, and Joni had something come up. She couldn't go, and she was like, "Whenever you get out there, tell Buck I'm sorry I couldn't make it, and give him a kiss for me." I was like, "All right." So when I got out there, I was like, "Buck, Joni said she's sorry that she couldn't make it, but she sent you a gift." And he was like, "Oh, what is it?" And I gave him a big kiss on the cheek. Everybody's standing around like, "What the hell?"
It all depends on the look on your face right afterwards, too, if you're looking at him with a coy smile. Ooh. Oh, so you didn't care for Smile? It wasn't anything too great, but it creeped me the fuck out, that's for sure.
It was very formulaic. So I'm a horror movie snob. It was very formulaic, and there were a lot of instances of why won't this person just be a not retarded individual and like deal with this problem? That was the big thing for me. But like I said, I watched it with my daughter. She was terrified the whole time. It was like I would even tell her like, all right, you know the thing's about to jump out right here, right? And she's like, I know, and then it would do it, and then she's still like terrified. Like it was so watching it with her was funny for me, but I didn't particularly enjoy the movie itself. But Smile 2 is out, and I'm sure I'll end up having to watch that with her, and it'll be equally entertaining for me to watch that with her, more so than the movie itself, probably.
There's something about it's not really a ghost movie, but we can say it's supernaturally. There's something about like supernatural like ghost movies typically I don't get into for this suspension of disbelief thing we've been talking about. And it's because like, okay, who sets the rules for how it's like they just come up with these like rules on how the ghosts operate, you know, it doesn't make sense to me. But I will say some of the ghost
this
movies
can damage the ghost, but that can't. Like, okay, well, like that how the hell does that make sense? Like,
yeah, or how do you get rid of it or whatever, you know, it's just like who like, you know, God came up with these rules, I guess, and we're supposed to know, I don't know. But some of them like the like Sinister and like that sort of series, what were the other ones? You know what I'm talking about? Those kind of like ghosty movies. Like they don't make sense to me. I don't really enjoy them. But god damn, do they give me the fucking creeps, man? Because it is one of those that like later that night, while like I'm walking around my house in the dark, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know, a thought about it crosses my mind, and then I get like, ooh, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, like, oh god. It's gonna be ghosts.
The Mothman prophecies really kind of fucked with me back in the. I know the Mothman is one of Clyde's favorites, but that one kind of fucked with me back in the day because you know it's like, what was it, rural, like kind of a rural West Virginia. I think it was West Virginia. It's like, man, like the movie especially, like these look like places I drive all the time. This dude's like seeing shit, and that one was kind of creepy.
That wasn't good. I've never
seen
it.
My first like real horror movie, I guess, Jeepers Creepers. But because of the same reasons that you're talking about, Justin, like because Jeepers Creepers like was like in the middle of like rural and everything. Like just because I was like, you know, like 11, 12 or whatever. I'm like, oh god.
I always hear people list Jeepers Creepers as one of them that like really terrified them, and it's a really scary movie. And
Well, I was
like,
like,
I went and
like,
saw it in I went and saw it in theaters with a girl I was dating at the time, and it scared the ever loving shit out of her. But for me, it was really good right up until they showed the monster, and then as soon as like the Jeepers Creepers monster came out and you see it, it was almost too cartoonish. Like it was, I didn't think the monster was scary looking, and so then that just took away from the rest of the movie for me. It was like, oh, this Roger Rabbit fucking bad guy is what we're like supposed to be scared of. It once the monster came out, then it all became about the monster, and it stopped being legitimately terrifying, and that kind of ruined the movie for me. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it and.
I must have seen that one back in the day, but I do not remember it.
Well, like the monster gets like wings, and then it like I think it captures the girl or whatever, something like that. And then like the creepiest part of it, like it you know, Jeepers Creepers aptly named because like the creepy part at the end is whatever. Like you thought maybe like she escaped or something like that, and then I think like it shows the monster and it has like her eyes or something like that. And that was
That's
what,
how you know there's a sequel.
Yeah, well, not only a sequel, but it's like, man, like, yeah.
Oh, they've come out with several of them.
I don't know if that.
I think there was a second one. I don't know. I didn't know there were others. I didn't even watch the second.
I think
we've been working our way through the Alien. We watched Covenant last night. I might have fallen asleep halfway through. We watched Covenant, so I think we just got one more, the new one, the one that came out this year or whatever.
Oh, are you watching them in chronological order or in the order they came out in the theater?
We watched them in cinematographical order, so order they came out in theaters, but we also have the list of, so we know sort of where we're at in the story. We are paying attention to the chronological list, but we are watching them in cinematographic release order. Yeah, but we are cognizant of the difference.
I watched the first Alien movie with Sean several years ago. Like he was probably a little bit too young for it, but it's one of those that I've seen it enough times that I knew where like the jump scares and stuff were going to happen. So like as it's building up to it, and I see and I know what's about to happen, then I'll like poke him or something. And then he'll jump because I did it, and then he'll laugh, and then it'll happen on the screen, and that kind of dulled it a little bit. So we were able to watch the original Alien movie without it being all that particularly terrifying for I think he was probably like 10 maybe, which I guess that's about the same age I was whenever I saw it, because we watched the first two Alien movies before we moved out of the trailer into the house. So, and we moved into the house when I was in 4th grade. So yeah, I was probably about the same age. But, wow, my parents let me watch some like pretty crazy shit when I was a little kid.
Yeah, I think I saw Alien at way too young of an age. But I think I was at my aunt's. That makes sense because she wasn't as. My parents were a lot more strict about stuff that we watched than my aunt. I feel like I remember some of the scenes from that being like way too young.
Well, I remember watching Demolition Man, and I was probably too young. I was probably too young for that too. Dad would go to the video store and rent movies, and he would take me and my brother with him, and so we'd get to like pick either a movie or a video game that we wanted, and then as soon as we come home, we'd either get to sit down and play the video game or watch the movie that we got, and then we'd eat supper, and then after supper, Mom and Dad would watch the movie that Dad got for them, and like Demolition Man, Aliens. There were several of those that Dad would let me and my brother stay up and watch with them, and then there were others that like after supper we went to our room and we could play and go to bed, but we couldn't come watch the movie with them. And I don't know what movies those were.
Those were probably the Netflix and chill of the day. That's probably how they.
We watched yesterday also, which I must have seen when I was a kid, but did not really remember. Gremlins 2. Oh my God! Talk about a stinker, bro. Dude, it was like Looney Tunes. Like they just made, and there was even a Looney Tunes bit before the movie, but it was just fucking Looney Tunes. It was so retarded.
Yeah, Gremlins is like legitimately scary kind of monster movie, and then Gremlins 2 is just straight up like batshit crazy,
Like a comedy
top
more than
goofiness. I mean, it was definitely it was definitely more of a comedy than a horror.
It even sounds like when it taps someone on the shoulder, it go boink boink. Like it even had cartoon sound effects in like the whole movie, dude. It was rough. I remember what it was I wanted to ask you guys this morning. Halloween question: do you guys get trick or treaters where you live?
I don't leave my porch light on usually, or we didn't last
If you
night.
did, do you think anybody would stop by?
I don't think so, because most of the people do trunk or treat around here. Like that's
Yeah, I'd imagine. I remember when I was a kid growing up in sort of the sticks, one house per 5 acres kind of place. And my mom, bless her heart, she tried to take me out trick or treating, so we get in the car and drive till we saw someone with a porch light on. And even then, half the time they were like, "What? It's Halloween? Like what? Oh, sorry, didn't realize the lights."
Yeah,
Nobody ever does that here. So yeah, they had to take us to neighborhoods.
If you go to like what my parents would do is like they took us to a couple people that they knew, like that they personally knew, and so they would give us candy, and then they would take us to like the suburbs where there was like a neighborhood where they would all have their lights on. They would all give out candy,
we'd have to go crash neighborhoods, and then eventually,
Like
I don't know
where
if
I grew up, it was
treat, but go ahead.
Where I grew up, it was out so far in the middle of nowhere that like rain, it snowed one year. None of that mattered because everywhere we went, we were in the truck or in the car with my parents. Like they had to drive us everywhere, and we had like a basically a route that we took every year for Halloween, and hit all the houses of like family members and people that we went to church with, landlords and stuff that my dad and granddad had on the farm. So we started at my grandmother's house because they were right up the street. And then from there, we would go hit all of the other landlords and everybody from church. And then our final stop would be in town. There was a lady that was a really close friend of the family. And so we would go to her house last because she was in town. And then there was a McDonald's just like 3 blocks down from her house. So after we go to her house, we go to McDonald's and we get the Halloween pail and get our Happy Meal and all of that shit.
They kind of cheapened up on the Halloween pails, like because they still do them apparently, but they look a lot more cheap now, like than they were.
I mean, that's everything. Our appliances get more bells and whistles, and everything that's actually good gets shittified.
Our Halloween pails get shittier.
At least they don't have shit in them, I guess.
Oh, dude, this guy in front of me, old ass truck. It took me a second to make out the bumper sticker. It's pretty degraded, but it says "Make welfare as hard to get as a building permit." That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh shit! Gotta love expressing your opinions on your bumper.
Yeah, I don't get why people like have like all kinds of like tell everything about themselves on their bumper stickers or whatever.
He also listens to the Joy FM, so.
I have a libertarian sticker, a boogaloo porcupine, and I think that's it.
One of my main reasons for not putting stickers on my car, besides the fact my dad would have beat me senseless as a child had I put any stickers on his bumper, is just like, I already drive the Kia Soul that's so hard to identify because there's a million other ones. Like, I don't want to put anything that's going to make it easier to pick me out of the rest, I'm like, no, I like being discreet now.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Jack's in incognito mode all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to order me some food.
I was like, what was that? I thought I heard a woman. Like,
yeah.
Your wife's going to be mad at you. So,
Wendy's lady.
Stephanie wakes up this morning and she goes, "Who's Heidi?" I was like, "I don't know who's Heidi." She said, in my dream, you were married to Heidi. I was like, I don't know anybody named Heidi. I was like, and then I got to like really, really thinking about it. I was like, I've known one chick named Heidi my entire life, and that was when I was a kid when my mom worked at the big nursery, and it was the owner's daughter. She was like 6 or 7 years older than me. Like, that's like I've literally known one Heidi in my entire life, and I definitely haven't been married to her. So, like, you need to like, but so now my wife had a dream that I'd been married to somebody else, so now she's mad at me for the rest of the day.
Oh, you guys are gonna go out to eat, and like your server is gonna be named Heidi in like a week, and it's just gonna get uncomfortable.
Tomorrow, it's gonna be fucking tomorrow, because Sean has to work. Nadia's gonna be staying the night at a friend's house, so we're gonna when we drop Sean off at work, we're gonna go like have our date day and go shopping and do all the shit that we usually do, and we usually go out somewhere for lunch. Inevitably, there's gonna be some chick named Heidi that ends up being our server wherever we go to eat lunch tomorrow, and then I'm gonna get stabbed in the restaurant.
See,
And I mean, look, I mean, I get it.
That. My wife never does that. The whole like, hey, you or see with somebody else or something like that.
But like, have you ever? You've had dreams like that before, though, right? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Where like, you know, you wake up and it's like, you know, it's not real, but it felt so. Like me, a lot of times, if somebody I know dies in my dream, and I wake up and I'm like disturbed for like 2 hours, even though I know it takes me like 2 hours to shake the feeling, you know.
Try
and I have that, like, yeah, like my wife's cheating on me with like my boss or something. It's always something horrible like that. It's like, and then it's
play
like,
the Family
wake
Guy.
up
Tell them your dream thing.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Wait, where is that?
It was in the Signal chat. I know we don't use stuff for Signal, but in this case, since we're talking about it.
Yeah, my wife likes to tell me about her dreams. It's pretty rough.
Oh, like the one time that I had a dream that like I woke up crying from. She was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I told her about the dream, and then she just starts laughing at me. I was like, "This was like really gut wrenching for me, and you're just gonna laugh at me?" Like I literally woke up bawling my eyes out.
Fag.
Well, okay, so
the
dream was like there were these stairs, and my cousin Joe and our friend Josh. Joe died in a car accident right after I got out of college, and then Josh died a few years later, had a brain aneurysm just like out of nowhere. And so like there's these stairs, and Joe and Josh are standing there, and I'm like, oh hey, and like I'm hanging out like with all of our friends and stuff that we grew up with, and I walk up, like I see them, and everybody else is still like standing back there. So I'll go walking up the stairs, and I give them both hugs, and I'm like, yeah, like, you know, missed y'all. And I turn around to go back to everybody else, and I'm like stuck, like I can't go back down the stairs. So I see all of my friends as like, I guess I like dreamed that I died, and it was I woke up just like falling, and yeah, and then she just laughed at me.
I've had several like I died dreams. There were a lot of them were more whenever I was like teenager, but yeah, there was a span of like just like, hey, I had one that was like a recurring guy, like people talk about the Hat Man or whatever, or something like that. I don't know if you guys seen that, like when they take
the Hat Man. Yep.
But I've never seen like the Hat Man. But there's like a dark, like almost like the Hat Man, but that would like he would be in my dreams.
Shadow
he would
people.
like kill me. Yeah, he would like try to kill me, and I'd be like there was one I distinctly remember one that I was. This is like sometimes I get like a little apprehensive in Walmart because of this, because it was in Walmart, a dream, and I'm like going through Walmart, and then all of a sudden I hear something like there's a shooter or something like that, and then like the guy like pops off a couple shots or something like that, and then all of a sudden like he's just like standing in front of me, and then just takes me out right there or whatever, and like that those kind of dreams are kind of weird. Then one in a parking lot. One time it was in a parking lot, and another time it was like I was changing my tires.
Most of my dreams, I'm the one killing stuff.
I had
This says nothing
again, watching,
about Justin's sociopathy.
Yeah, like
at all.
Freddy Krueger is more than welcome to come join me in my dreams, but he better get on the same page because like we ain't slowing down. We got killing to do. And don't be trying to fuck with me. We're busy.
so again, watching Smile, last night, it doesn't go with a lot of movies, where it's like, oh man, this person's going through this thing, but if they tell you about it, obviously you're going to think they're crazy, right? And in this movie, there doesn't get to be a point where there is some sort of evidence, right? But that aside, like in real life, like I remember the first time I had a friend dead seriously tell me, and I was like a teenager, let's say beyond elementary school, because kids are full of shit, but I was a teenager, and one of my best friends started telling me about shadow people. And that him and his family, him and, his dad and brothers and stuff, see the shadow people. And, he's like, you ever like, out of the corner of your eye, you think you see something, and you turn and look, and it's not there, but you thought it was. He's like, there was something there, and it was these shadow people. And I'm like, okay, because it's like, I don't think he's lying to me, right? But you also don't really believe him, But then it's like, but then what if it is true? And then, like, I've dated some girls, too, who have said, oh, yeah, me and my sister see ghosts, and they describe presences. And so we live in this one house. There'd always be some thing standing at the foot of my bed. And, okay, probably dreaming. Or, like, I've had, like, sleep paralysis where, like, you wake up, like, paralyzed, and you're convinced. And that's why, like, I'm like, alien abduction, like, fits this, where it's like, convinced there's something in the room with you, and you just can't turn and look at it. And then when you finally can move again, you turn and look, there's nothing there. Like, that's happened to me a couple times, but you could say that's like scientific, explainable for whatever reason. But you guys have had, like, I'm sure somebody that like you know or care about or respect tell you that they see paranormal shit or they've seen paranormal shit, and then it's like, how do you like react? Because like I want to believe you, but it's kind of hard.
My mom has this famous ghost story that she tells me, and it's interesting because we're both like Christian, but like I don't believe in ghosts. Like I don't believe in ghosts in the way that she seems to believe in them, because she believes in them like actively, I guess, being around here. I'm like, that's not at all how it would be. But anyway, that tangent aside, so she tells me this ghost story, and it goes like this: she's cleaning her and my grandmother, her mother, are cleaning the church. They're at the church. They're cleaning and everything. And somebody, I guess, apparently the story is that somebody had recently died, and he was buried there. And they start just like hearing this weird sound, really strange, like eerie. They couldn't explain it. Something just so they couldn't tell what it was. And then all of a sudden the lights flicker and they go out. And they were like, let's get out of here. So they get in the car. The car doesn't really start the first time. It takes them like 10 times for it to get started. Then they finally get the car started. They turn and they go down the road. And then all of a sudden they see like what looks like a motorcycle running right in toward them. And it's got its lights on bright. And it's coming right toward them. And it goes right through their car. And then they realized that somebody had been buried, and apparently he drove a motorcycle. So they were like, "Oh, this is a ghost of him." And I'm like, I feel like this is like a hallucination.
That's creepy. Even if I didn't believe that story, if someone legit told me that story, I'd be creeped the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like he died he just buried, like 2 days ago or whatever, and then all of a sudden the lights went out, they couldn't start the car, and then when they finally do leave, the motorcycle's coming right through them. Like it's like it was literally like a scene out of a movie. That's why I was like, man, like, this sounds crazy.
You know what's funny? The same guy who grabbed my ass in the story I told earlier up in Maryland, when I was there, I was staying in his house, and his house was built in like the 1840s or something, and I was staying in the basement. And his family, his dad and stuff, they were in the church. They were counselors. This guy was very, very religious. And in this basement, it was all stone walls, and it's kind of set up like a church in there, so it could be kind of creepy, late at night. And I don't remember what I said, some just offhanded joke about like, it being haunted or something. And then, then actually believe in like ghosts or whatever. So it wasn't really real. It was just something I said, and he got like dead serious. He goes, "Listen here." He's like, "We're Christian. There's no such thing as ghosts. There's angels and there's demons, and there's no demons in this house." And I was like, "Dude, like, cool, man. Like, that's just cool, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you by insinuating there might be ghosts in your house, Because I was, just kidding. But I was like, okay, well, I guess maybe I should keep the paranormal talk to a minimum around certain groups of people.
Yeah, some people don't have.
See, that's what's funny about my mom is I would think my mom would believe that way because whatever, but like she seems to like really actually believe in the ghosts and stuff like that. And what's funny is like she will. I honestly I think this probably contributes to some of her stuff because she like watches some of the paranormal, like where people are talking about and like demon exorcism and stuff like this. Like she watches some of it, and I'm like, that's probably not good for your health. Like especially considering how I know how my mom is. Like, that's not good for your health at all.
Well, I have had like times where I'll be hunting, and it'll be early in the morning, and you're sitting under a tree, and it's kind of foggy, and the sun hasn't started to come up yet, but it's just starting to get a little bit light, and it'll like abruptly get really cold for no reason, and you'll like see and hear stuff that you can't really see it, but it doesn't really look like it's moving like a deer or like normal animals move, and makes more noise than it should. Like I don't know. I've had a couple of those where it's just like, the fuck is that? And it's like, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see anything. Like if something comes near me, I have
ignore
gun.
the ghosts.
Whatever it is, I don't want to know. Like,
speaking
go
of
ahead
that,
with your life, dog, man.
things happen in the twilight hours that I just as soon not investigate.
yeah, that's just like there's been like a people talking about it on Twitter. It was funny. They were like, they're basically saying like, let's go hunting demons or whatever. And it's like they've got like the guy like with the tactical gear on and his AR-15 or whatever, like shooting at a demon floating in the air or something like that. And they're like, oh, that wouldn't kill it or something like that. There's a whole argument going on. I don't know why about like, can you kill a demon with a like a rifle or whatever?
I'd try.
By God, I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't know if it'll work or not, but
what else are you gonna do? Not shoot at it?
Yeah.
Right? Violence might not be the answer, but by God, we can try.
Yeah, that's all I got. I don't keep enough crucifixes on hand to try just flashing one of those.
That's right.
I don't know what else to do.
Well, and if you've watched like Supernatural, like sometimes the crucifixes don't work. Like some demons don't. They're not scared by the crucifix.
If shooting it is not the answer, we're going to exhaust every round I've got to find out.
Going out in a blaze one way or another.
That's right.
I mean, you either lit, you're either going to survive or everyone's going to say, man, that guy was retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.